So within this whole NBA community, or should I say the NBA ecosystem, the heavy analytical crowd is beginning to run into a wall, as not only the small ball era is beginning to close, but certain dynamics within it have ended, aka the whole situation with Daryl Morey and the trust the process system down there in Philly. We seen Kenny Atkinson during a playoff run against the Knicks get blown out night in and night out, and he even made statements talking about the analytics said that they were playing correctly. That's another interesting thing about this Knicks run, the makeup of their team, the way they were able to build it brick by brick. The play style of that squad cannot be ignored. But in this segment, we're going to get into it. It's going to be multi-layered. As by the end of it, we're going to hear from Bob Myers as he clarifies how the Warriors were not one of these heavy analytical teams, and them actually ignoring it helped them to go on that major title run during the 2010s. But to start this off, let's hear from Josh Hart during the NBA playoffs and his response to Kenny Atkinson about the analytics, quote unquote, is still saying the Cavs are playing right.
I just try to go out there and just play my game. I'm never a huge analytics guy. At a certain point, they're a lamppost to a drunk person. You can lean on them, but it won't get you home. So at a certain point, you got to have a good feel for the game.
And that very feel of the game in this parity era that we're entering right now in the NBA, it is going to be put to the test. A lot of these heavy analytical franchises have been tanking in the past number of seasons. That's why it's been such a pronounced issue that has to be addressed in multiple occasions during the season. But those very same front offices have been invaded by tech bros, where not only tanking can actually land them a superstar for the cheap. I mean, we're looking at top lottery picks that are going to be slotted into a certain salary for the first 7 seasons. And also the fact that these franchises don't even have to hit the second apron or just pay a bunch of salaries. So that type of proposition looks good to an owner. And that's the kind of language he's used to understanding, instead of talking to basketball people where things get explained in a 4 or 5 year plan in basketball terms. You could look at a team like the Washington Wizards, for example. I'm not saying they use analytics, but what happens when you start progressing and actually having a competitive team going forward, but you run into a wall where you have to pivot so you can continue to get better? That's where those very heavy analytical front offices tend to revert right back into tanking real quick. A franchise like the 76ers, I would say in a way, is a perfect example because they really never understood when to make a pivot. In reality, that same season when they had Jimmy Butler on the team, they should have gotten away from Ben Simmons back then. And fast forward current day, Joel Embiid, he's showing a lot of signs he can no longer be that 1A guy. So can they quickly make another pivot? So at some point, with his contract being locked in for, I believe, 4 or 5 more seasons, are they also going to make a pivot? Daryl Morey has bowed out of that situation. So far, he has shown that he's taken a whole bunch of Hail Marys in his short time in Philly. That's also another place where we begin to see this heavy analytical crowd actually hit a ceiling, which is they can keep these teams competitive, make their franchise owner a ton of money at the same time, but when it comes to them getting to the finals or winning championships, that's a wall they have not yet passed. NBA insider Ramona Shelburne gives us some great details of what's going on over there down in Philly, especially when it pertains to the analytical god of Daryl Morey. Remember, he's almost like a godlike figure when it comes to analytics in that small section, that small Salone conference. We're going by the numbers solely type of crowd. And Daryl Morey has been their proof of concept, but he has no NBA Finals wins or appearances. So with that said, you guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
Daryl Morey showed faith in Joel Embiid and James Harden before that, and Ben Simmons. Sometimes as a general manager, you have to show faith in your players. You have to give them those max offers. Ownership was on board with those offers, right? Like nothing happens. No, it's not one person. I think though, when you look back at the totality of this run that they've been on, somebody has to pay the price, right? And they have not broken through. They haven't gotten to the conference finals. They haven't gotten to the finals. You had a guy who's an MVP caliber player. The James Harden thing was a mess. the moves they've made on the margins haven't worked. They went and got Paul George. That hasn't worked out.
Once again, that was another Hail Mary. But that good faith that Ramona had mentioned earlier, they always rested it in the wrong people. After that battle with Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors, the 76ers should have moved off of Ben Simmons and kept Jimmy Butler. And also current day right now, it's looking like it's the beginning of the end of Joel Embiid being that 1A player for the 76ers. And their team has to ask the tough question. Was it smart to give Joel Embiid, knowing his injury history, a major extension like that going into his mid-30s?
It's not that Daryl Morey is not a great general manager. I think he'll get another job. I think he's widely respected in the industry. I don't know if it'll be this cycle here, because when you hire Daryl Morey, you're hiring someone to run your whole franchise. It's not just a second tier guy there. Like that's like Masai Ujiri, who just got that job in Dallas. You need somebody who says, "Okay, we're broken, fix us."
And that's where the heavy analytical front offices come in, and they're almost a shortcut to help an owner become profitable. But it has a ceiling. We're talking about maybe a second round exit, more than likely a continuous first round exit. They're a playing team, but without a true genius basketball mind, they're always going to hit that ceiling. As later on in this segment, we're going to hear exactly what helped Bob Myers, the president of the Golden State Warriors, of just having the beautiful mind of Jerry West alongside him, stopping that organization from making a crazy mistake of getting rid of Klay Thompson too quick.
So I just think in Philly, there was just too many cumulative things that when you lose and when the things fall short, somebody pays the price. And in this time it was Daryl.
Well, and Bob Myers is involved with the search. He obviously he's a guy who's a Josh Harris.
Yeah.
What would you say, employee? I don't know.
I mean, he has that title, special advisor, which means like
for the
you're really
too.
smart, and I just want to have you around to do everything. So I want to say this: I don't think Bob Myers is going to be their GM.
That's doing this. Question is you've heard vice presidential searches wind up where the person doing the searching is the vice president.
That happened in our country.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So that won't happen.
I don't think so. I would. The only way that would happen is if they really can't find someone that everyone likes. And if Josh Harris asked Bob Myers to do that. But Bob Myers has graduated. Like, do you know what I mean? He's graduated to another level.
And I believe Bob Myers is smart enough to know that this is a losing situation with Joel Embiid just making all that money and the politics of him supposedly being the 1A guy. But again, with him serving almost as a consultant at this very moment for the 76ers, he did learn a lot from the late, great Jerry West, who's probably been one of the best front office executives in the modern era. We're talking about Showtime Lakers, Shaq and Kobe Lakers, the Golden State Warrior run. He even had a run with the Memphis Grizzlies where they were making the playoffs every single season, making a lot of noise. They even beat Chris Paul and the Clippers in the playoffs. I mean, he's had one hell of a run.
And I think this would be I hate to call it a step down, but it is from where he is right now.
Correct.
He didn't take that job as the sort of special counsel, special advisor, whatever you want to call it, to all those organizations to go back and be the general manager of the Sixers. I think he really is truly looking for a replacement. And I think that's why they finally made a move here, because you can't really do much. And so when you have somebody who's built a team that is somewhat stuck now, they're just stuck by these contracts. There's not that much you can do on the margins. They got to keep Oubre. They got to keep Quentin Grimes. They've got to keep people from a team that just got swept by the Knicks and look like they're not close. And I think, we keep saying this year after year in Philly, it's like if Joel Embiid can be healthy at the right time. And then I think they successfully pivoted to becoming Tyrese Maxey's team this year, where they're not built around Joel Embiid. They're built around Maxey. And Embiid is somebody who's there, and when he plays, he's great, but they don't count on him night in and night out, so their fortunes don't necessarily rise and fall when he can play. I think what happened in that Knicks series, I think Maxey got hurt. His pinky's messed up. And Embiid was still playing his way back into shape after not being able to play for a while after appendicitis. Paul George was good, but the Knicks are a buzzsaw right now. They're playing great.
And let's not forget, the Knicks have been in a series with the 76ers before with a ton of injuries Even Mitchell Robinson end up going out within that very same series. And the real question is, why did Jalen Brunson end up beating Joel Embiid 4-2? The excuse at the time was Joel Embiid was hurt, but in that series, for the most part, he played over 35 minutes a game. Once again, the days of Joel Embiid leading this 76ers team is virtually over. And hopefully they learn from the Ben Simmons situation of when to pivot away from a star. I'm not saying they need to get rid of him, but the pecking order needs to be readjusted.
They just lost to a better team. And you don't have the same guy who architected a team tear it down.
Mm-hmm.
So bring somebody in with fresh eyes, bring somebody with a different perspective. I think that's what they'll do, and they'll take their time with it. But I don't see how you can move Joel Embiid's contract. His 3-year deal starts this year. It's just now starting to kick in. You might be able to move Paul George. He played well enough. He doesn't have as many years left on that deal now. Maybe. But they're somewhat stuck. And that's why you bring in somebody new to look at it with fresh eyes.
And a new set of eyes is definitely what Philadelphia needs. But in Daryl Morey's short time there, he took a lot of home run swings, including chasing down that old thing back in James Harden. But check out one of his first coaching hires, Doc Rivers, even admit that Harden's play style doesn't work after a certain level when it comes to winning. Again, keep in mind that James Harden is one of the proof of concepts alongside Daryl Morey for the analytical/Salone Conference crowd. They justify a lot of their philosophies through these names, especially that playoff series with the Houston Rockets and Golden State Warriors. But no one ever really talks about how the Warriors were completely in control of that series up 2-0. Then Andre Iguodala got injured and it completely swung it around.
It's the answer that we should all go by.
Right.
There's a lot of players. James is a phenomenal player.
He's in my top 50.
I still think the best part of his game he doesn't like as much as I loved.
The point guard part.
Yeah. I think he has as good a vision as anybody that I've seen next to Rondo and Chris.
Yeah.
But he can score too, and he liked to dribble. He liked to hold the ball. James doesn't give everybody else enough room to be great.
Yeah.
He is the only one that can be great on his team.
He has to be the greatest.
Yeah. I don't even think it's a jealousy thing. I really don't. I just think it's the way he plays, and that's how he plays. As you said, he's a system. But that system to me is not the way to win. I still go back. You look with James with us in Philly, the first half of the year.
Yeah.
He gave himself up to the team. He was playing unbelievable basketball. And I thought there was nobody better than us.
Yeah.
And then it kind of changed. He wanted to go back. You could see it slowly, like he was uncomfortable in that role. One of the things I did like about that sucker, though, he practiced every day. Like, it's funny how people don't look at him like that. James Harden loves playing basketball.
And he's durable.
Very. I told Ty Lue that. I said, listen, you're going to need a guy that practices every day, and he's going to play 80 games. Like, there's something good about that. The bad part is, can you win with it?
Now, I'm going to shoot James Harden some bail, because when Mike D'Antoni first took over down there in Houston, he proved that he could make James Harden a winning player. The Rockets finished at the top of the conference year in, year out. There was a stretch where this happened. But also, James Harden's assist numbers completely skyrocketed. It was almost at the late stages of that run with the Rockets where Daryl Morey kind of took over more of what Mike D'Antoni was doing. We're mainly talking about the era where CP3 showed up, and that offense was slotted to either take 3 mid-range shots a game, and it was mostly threes and layups. That right there is not a system that Mike D'Antoni runs. He likes to use the whole court. Just take a look at his days with Steve Nash and the Phoenix Suns. They used all areas of the court. And I'll link one of my earliest segments below, as by the time James Harden left Houston, almost every single player from Austin Rivers to PJ Tucker, Chris Paul, everybody complained about the system that Daryl Morey, or just the heavy analytical approach of this team. Even Mike D'Antoni walked away and resigned. That's the thing about the Salone Conference / analytical crowd. There's a high IQ, but there's a low EQ at the same time. And that's the beautiful thing about the basketball game. On a winning level, it's always going to be a team concept, and there is an artistic kind of approach to it. You got to have variation to that art form on a winning level.